Hi student, good day. Today we are starting with the chapter 14, Kaplan study text. And now we have added a special benefit for the students with the flashcard. So they will have access of the flashcard for the same chapter, which we are studying today, audit and compliance. So during this session, maybe after 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes, they just keep watching. So middle of this lecture, so they will find flashcards for the chapter 14, which will issued by the Kaplan. So it will be very much helpful for students just to have a quick review and a quick understanding of the key points. So you will have like this, you will get chapter 14. If you want to see first chapter to till chapter 13, so it's already given in my previous lecture for 13 chapter. So you can review that one. So you will find all the 13 chapters flashcard, and now every during every chapter, so you will get this flashcard as well. So just let's move to the study text. Yeah. So audit and compliance for the in this according to strategic business leader. So audit and compliance is specifically for internal audit purpose or internal audit point of view. This chapter is relating to external audit that already you study in F8 or in your other studies in during SBL or SBR, specifically F7. We have gone through audit and compliance related points, but here our main focus will be relating to the internal audit point of view, because internal audit is also important part in international concerns, and in many organizations they follow this rule as well. Let's move on. So we'll see the internal audit function in the light of regulatory and organizational requirement. Many organizations require internal audit. This is important and this is very much beneficial. So they keep checking, they keep testing. Their all documents are internal control, the policies, their procedure, their all activities they monitor. So they have a complete department of internal audit who scrutinize, verify all receipt, payments, funds, cash related matters, their cash flow forecast. So they just verify all activities, their day-to-day operation and their small and long-term operations as well. Justify importance of internal independence of all client auditor situation, including internal audit and the role of internal audit in compliance. Absolutely, this is internal audit is also following the rules, guidelines, and procedure of external auditor. But internal audit has a focus specific for the company's function, and there is reporting to audit committee. Justify the importance of having effective internal audit committee overseeing the internal audit function. Absolutely, assess the appropriate response to auditor's recommendation. They internal auditor follow the external auditors. So this is audit compliance, how it happen in the company. Audit committee relationship, and then audit and compliance department, they deal with the internal audit. Here this is internal audit department, and then this is the auditor independence, audit committee role, threats to independence and composition. This is all internal audit and external audit. These are their roles and functions. Function and importance of internal audit. This is very easy to understand, and this is just internal audit is a management control. The department reviews the effectiveness of other control within the company, how they work, how the purchase order issue, how the sales is done, how the purchases is done, how this all salary procedures, how who will approve, who will have a signing authority. So all the delegation of authority, the control, the procedures, they do all checkups. It is a part of the control system of a company with the aim of ensuring that other controls are working correctly. In some regime, it is statutory, is important, mandatory. So for the internal audit purpose, so other corporate governance, or maybe the some stock exchange listed, they have a restriction to have internal audit for their department and internal controls. The work internal audit is varied from reviewing financial controls through the checking compliance with the legislation. Department is normally under the control of a chief internal auditor who reports to the audit committee. This is the one complete understanding is required for you to adhere with. Roles of internal audit department. So this is the our internal audit department. These are the roles. How what they do, what will be their function. Reviewing an internal control system, assessing with the identification significant risk, reviewing the economy efficiency and effectiveness of operations, examining financial operation information, special investigation into a suspected fraud. So they keep testing all their departments or activities, reviewing compliance with the laws and the other external regulation. Very easy way. So if you consider yourself in this role, so then you just see these functions you have to do. You have to control all these activity or function of the company. Roles of internal audit committee or internal audit department: reviewing accounts and internal control, assisting with the identification and how this comment is done. So this is once you understand the concept, now it is easier for you. How reviewing accounting control, traditional review of internal audit. The internal audit checks the financial control, company possibly assisting the sharing work with the external auditor. Internal audit would comment whether appropriate controls exist, whether he will test all these control and they function, and then report to the external auditor if we need any opinion for this in this regard. Assisting with the identification, reviewing all these process, so it will also be easier. Okay. And then examining financial operating information, special investigation into the areas of company's business, for example, checking the cost estimate for a new factory, reviewing compliance with the laws and regulation and external regulations, SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley, as we discussed. This is for USA point of view. The types of audit work. What types of audit work? Financial audit, which is normally external audit do, and then operational audit, project audit, value for money audit, social, environment, and management audit. These audit are also an example of their different types, which you already covered in F8 audit and assurance. Factor affecting the need for internal audit. Why internal audit is required? Number of factors that affect the need for internal audit: the scale, diversity, complexity in common company's activity, number of employees, cash benefits, changes in organization structure, reporting process, or changes in key risk areas, internal, external, and then problem with existing internal audit, and the increase in number of unexplained or unacceptable events. So this is a company, the staff is not doing well or they're not performing well. It will be a cause for this lack of internal audit. So they need a real strong man or strong person who have a full control in commands, in written, in oral and verbal communication. All their activities are required. Factor affecting the need for internal audit. Again, this is the same thing which we already discussed. You just have a read. Auditor independence. Same, this thing already we discussed in our previous chapters. Internal audit is an independent, objective assurance activity. Ensure activity is carried out objectively. Independence is assured as a part of having appropriate structure within the internal audit. Independence also assured party of internal auditor following acceptable ethical work. Risk if auditor are not independent. If auditor is not independent, he is a relative of other CFO, or they have internal benefits or issue, then they fail to report control breaches, ignore discrepancies, accept explanation without checking, back down on a matter of principle, turn a blind eye to unethical practices, give undeserved positive feedback. So these are the risk of example of risk of the audit not independent. Potential ethical threats like independence will be compromised with the ethical threats. If the opinion of an auditor could not be doubted, area can be real or perceived. ACCA code of conduct is also required to understand. So this is again self-interest, advocacy, familiarity, trust, and then threat to independence, intimidation, and the self-review. This is all same thing which you already study in F8 students. The self-interest is the auditor could benefit from financial interest in the client. So maybe if he's an audit of any food chain, or he's taking a benefit of that. Or advocacy, auditor promotes and advocate audit client's position in our opinion. And then familiarity, auditor become so friendly with the client by working for a client for a number of years. If there is a familiarity, if there is a rules and regulation, 5 year or 10 years, so just to check it down. So they have a restriction. The auditor cannot be the same auditor. Their auditor rotation will be there. So self-review, auditor is a position of reviewing working. They have been responsible for self-review, meaning the same internal auditor and the same time they have an external auditor. They are reviewing their own work. So it's not intimidation. Auditor is subject to intimidation. Mean so they are given threats, or given pressurize them for to have their own results according to their choice. Ethical threats, ACCA conceptual framework, self-interest. So this is all students you have done, you have read already. So it's just need a brief look on these areas. So normally it is not oftenly tested, but as a student, as a teacher, you have to go through. I will suggest you to have a complete understanding. I am sure you have a clear concept in your earlier learnings, but definitely it will help you to update your knowledge. Now, student, I will show you this chapter 14 slides for flashcards. So, which will after that external auditor threat, we will see these examples to external auditor. Yes, student. So, audit and compliance in this chapter for this Kaplan flashcards. In this chapter, the same audit committee rules, committee, internal control committee. This is all we'll see all these things. This is all chapter slides. So through flashcards, it will helpful for you to memorize. So let's quickly conclude this area for chapter 14 flashcards. This is again familiarity, self-interest. If you have just a screenshot, so it will recall. It's very easy for you to memorize. audit committee roles, audit committee interest, audit committee and internal audit committee and external audit internal control and shareholder. And then chapter 15 will be our next. Okay, students, let's back to this area. They have a external auditor and ethical threat example. Threat to independence. Auditor owns share in a client company. This is a financial interest. Explanation, recommendation. This is the same way. They have a risk. They have a share purchase price, and they can control. So there should be a limitation. Audit firms, pension scheme owns a share in the audit client audit. So this is the examples. So just read, go through. Loans and guarantees are also there. Close business relationship. The same examples are there. Employment with assurance clients. For example, member of assurance team accept senior position at a client's company. There should be a restriction there. Time limitation is there. Size of fees. Size of fees is an example of 10% of their fees from one listed company or 15% from other companies. So this is the rule, the same rule which you study in F8. Gifts and hospitality. Auditors is provided with the free holiday by client. This is example. The gift impair the independence. A familiarity threat is created. Absolutely. This is the students. You just as a flavor to recall your earlier studies. Ethical conflict of interest. These are easy chapter. This is just your previous learning. It's helping you to refresh yourself. Resolution of ethical conflicts. Protection of independence. How independence is protected? Internal auditor should be independent executive management and should not have any involvement in activity system that they audit. The head of internal audit should report directly to senior director or the audit committee. So in addition to head of internal auditor should have a direct access to the chairperson of the board of director and the audit committee and should accountable for audit committee. Absolutely, the audit committee should appropriate appoint the termination of and appointment of a head of internal audit. So they have a control over there. So mean to say the auditor, internal auditor should not report to the CFO or finance manager or someone who is just correct his own mistakes, or this is not a way. He should be informed to the shareholders or to the stakeholder chairperson who is who own the company and who they have a right to know what is happening inside of the company. Summary of independence. In summary, independence of mind, independence in appearance. This is interesting. Have a read. Very easy. But remember, professional skepticism is always there. Audit, if you are willing to become an auditor, you are should be a professional skepticism skill or ability must be there in you, like a questioning mind. But the measure to protect independence, how measure independence can be protected? Attribute standard, performance standards. Independence, objectivity, professional due care. Performance standard for internal auditor. This is the same areas which we keep repeating. Governance is there. US prior to SOX, internal network. Communicating rules. How they will communicate results should be communicated to the appropriate person. As we discussed, it should report to the chairperson. Now, audit committee. Audit committee is a committee of the board of directors consisting of entirely the independent non-executive directors. So, no, you are aware about it. Role of audit. This is the role of audit committee. Review of internal system, oversee work of internal audit, work of external audit, monitor integrity of financial statement. So this is audit committee role. So they should be responsible for their financial true and fair financial statements. Factor affecting the role of audit committee. So these are the factors, just key points. Let's look at this audit committee and internal control, how it works. Audit committee and internal controls. So this is a review of financial control, supervise major transaction. Actually, in corporate or any listed company, so everything route through the internal audit. If a CFO is approving anything, it is after his approval or before his approval, it should go to the internal auditor according to their procedure, review fraud, risk assessment, review compliance regulation, all these activities. Audit committee and internal control, control environment management, attitude management controls. Audit committee and internal audit. The internal audit, how it is working, the same, check efficiency, ensure recommendation. All these are audit committee and internal audit. Just have a look. Audit committee should monitor, check efficiency of internal audit by, for example, comparing actual cost and output against their target, approve appointment of termination, ensure that our internal audit function has a direct access, review and assess the annual internal audit plan, receive periodic reports, review and monitor, ensure that recommendation made by internal audit are their action. Now, audit committee role interaction with the external auditor. This is their main activity and main role for external auditor. They have a primary responsibility. This is the primary responsibility for making recommendation to the board on the appointment and reappointment and removal of external auditor. This is their responsibility. So this is all audit committee's other responsibilities. Very uh, common, and all activities we have already discussed. Post-completion audit review. Post-completion audit review where the committee discuss any major issue, other review key accounting or audit judgment, and review level of errors are identified during the audit. Independence of external auditor. This is same things. Now just they have add on this material, but I am sure it is just a foundation for you to make you a senior manager. It's just a revision for you, for those who pass F8. Reporting on internal control to shareholder, how they are reporting. So these are points which are important for you. Maybe in the question, in the scenario, this type of problem, they will ask you, you are going to report to internal control to the shareholder. How you will report? These are points you should keep in mind. Shareholder, as the owner of company, are entitled to know their internal control system is sufficient to safeguard, provide the shareholder with the assurance. Review should cover all material control, including financial operational. Review should conducted against COSO as element of an effective internal control system. Annual report should also inform member. So all these things are there. Audit committee report is also key point. In internal audit reporting, how the internal audit reporting works. Here it is the chapter summary, students. If you understand this whole concept, internal audit, so how internal audit is controlling these branches, these activities. This is internal audit is under working under the audit committee. Under audit committee, there is an auditor independence. They take care. Auditor committee reporting to the shareholder, their roles and all these activities. Very interesting part. Wish you all the best. See you in the next chapter, and keep studying, and just comment any a question if you have in the comments. I will get back to you. So if you are interested for revision sessions, revision classes, or WhatsApp support, contact me. So you will have a complete answer on any question. So confirm your joining for revision classes. All the best.